Children, in the previous video, we have studied about the organs of government and their main functions. Now, as we need to study the difference in Indian and US government, so let's study about the most powerful country US with their functions. First, we will deal with the formation of its government.
Children, in the previous video, we have studied about the organs of government. Now let's study about the most powerful country, US, and their organs. First, we will deal with its formation. So, here on the slide you see the government of the US is based on the Constitution, a document which was written in 1787. It provides for a federal system in which power is divided between the states and the national or federal government. Now we come to the division of powers. Here we deal with the legislative power of the federal government. So, it deals with the power to make peace or war. This is the delegated power of the federal government. To print money, to regulate trade between the states, and states look after justice, education, marriages and divorce. So, now come to the executive power of the US. The Constitution vests the executive power in the President of the United States. The Congress, particularly its upper house, the Senate, has been given some executive powers. All the appointments made by the President become effective only when approved by the Senate. All treaties made by the President become operative only when the Senate ratifies these by 2/3 majority. The Congress alone has the right to declare war. The Congress has power to create executive departments. These powers have been given to the Congress with a view to check the possibility of misuse of his powers by the President. So, who is in the executive branch? Here include the President, the Vice President, the Executive Office and the Cabinet. Here you all see the executive, the 3 branches of government. Head is the President, he is the executive head. Legislative, the Congress, and the judicial is the Supreme Court. I already told you the power of the President. It approves the laws. The Congress creates, meets with the leaders of the other countries and can make treaties with them. Is technically the boss of every government worker, commands the armed forces. See the structure of the Congress. of US. First one is the House of Representative and second is the Senate. Coming to House of Representatives, it is the lower, popular and directly elected house of the US Congress. It gives representation to the people of the United States. Its strength is 435. These 435 members are directly elected by the people. Single member constituencies, direct election, secret ballot, a simple majority vote victory system and a 2-year tenure are the features of the election system adopted for electing the members of the House of Representatives. Now coming to the Senate, the most powerful house of the US. So 100 members means 2 for each state, elected every 6 years. Members must be 30 years old. Every 2 years, 1/3 of the Senate comes up for re-election to maintain stability. Senate of US is considered to be the most powerful second chamber in the world because of its direct executive powers, which enjoys the shares with the president with his power of making top ranking appointments, and through this privilege it controls the internal administration of the federal government. Then no treaty or agreement with a foreign state concluded by the president is valid without the prior ratification of the Senate. Through this power, the Senate controls the external policy of the president. It is to be noted that these powers are exclusively exercised by the Senate. The Houses of Representatives has nothing to do with them. The membership of the US Senate is small, but its tenure is long. On the other hand, the membership of the House of Representatives is large and its tenure is short. The Senate consists of only 100 members. This small size makes it really a more deliberative body and adds to its importance. The House of Representatives is an unwieldy body consisting of 438 members. The large size of the House makes its deliberations less effective. Then the senators are elected for a term of 6 years, whereas members of the House are elected only for the term of 2 years. The senators are therefore not worried about their elections after every 2 years. Moreover, during a brief span of 2 years, no party can do full justice to its program and policy. Coming to the third point, why it is considered to be the most powerful second chamber is the absence of parliamentary government, because it has also directly helped the Senate to acquire a domineering position over the House. In countries with parliamentary form of government, the lower house attains a higher status than the other one on account of the fact that it has a control over the executive, as in England and Pakistan. In US, the position is rather reverse. It is the upper house which has some control over executive, and the lower house is devoid of any such power. Senior politician and men with legislative experience and wider knowledge of public affairs usually aspire to the membership of the Senate because of its longer term and greater prestige than the lower house. The result is that the Senate becomes superior to the lower house in intellectual quality, legal talents, and political wisdom. The newspaper give great coverage to the speeches made in the Senate. Public attention is more focused on what happens in the Senate than in House. They are given greater freedom of speech also. Senators enjoy greater freedom of speech than the members of the lower house. A senator can go on speaking for any length of time. This enables a full-length debate on every matter, and every measure is discussed from all viewpoints and angles. The rules of procedure are simple and flexible, enabling the senators to carry on full-length discussions. Unlike the members of the second chambers in England, Pakistan, India, or Canada, US senators are directly elected by the people. It is a matter of common experience that an indirectly elected upper chamber finds it difficult to resist the will of the lower house, which is elected by the direct vote of the people in these countries. But in USA, the Senate can claim equally representative character with the House. The latter is therefore not in a position to dominate the former. In relation to the court of impeachment against the President, Vice President, and other high officials of the US, both civil and political, this fact enhances the prestige of the Senate and enables it to overshadow the House. So, the Senate is the one legislative organ in the world, the members of which have solidarity and unity irrespective of their political affiliation. As for instance, when the President tried to bypass senatorial courtesy, it stood solidly against it. Even senators of his own party did not support. The entire Senate stand as one unit wherever any attack on its authority is made. As senators are the representatives of the state, so The members of the Senate are elected by the entire population of the state, whereas the members of the House are elected by the fraction of population in constituency. The senators thus have the proud privilege of having great representative character and greater popular support as against the member of the House of Representatives. Senators represent the state as a political units. The old state loyalties having diminished and the narrow outlook disappeared. The senators now regarded themselves as the representatives of the nation as a whole. Senate can appoint committees investigating into the misuse of authority by the administration. The power increases the prestige of the Senate as against that of the House because the executive, being afraid of such investigations, subordinates to the wishes of the Senate. So, Senate is indeed a unique institution. It partakes in all three functions of the state: executive, legislature and judicial. So, all these facts prove that no second chamber in the world enjoys such power as are enjoyed by the US Senate. Now, coming to the Supreme Court. It is the highest court in the nation. It is located in Washington. It is made up of 9 justices appointed by the President and approved by the Senate. Justices have their jobs for life unless they are resign, retire or they are impeached. Cases brought before this court for review come from the lower federal courts. Courts decide arguments about the meaning of laws, how they are applied, and whether they break the rules of the Constitution. Once the Supreme Court makes a decision, it can only be changed by another Supreme Court decision or by amending the Constitution. So, the role of the Supreme Court, it can be said as the final interpreter or and guardian of the Constitution and of the fundamental rights and freedoms of the people of the United States. The Supreme Court is the final interpreter of the Constitution. Its interpretations of the constitutional provisions are considered inherently superior and final. The Supreme Court determines as to whether a law is in conformity with the Constitution or not. It can invalidate any legislative measure or an executive action on a reference having been made to it, either specifically by any person or group or during the course of litigation in a case, that it is not in consonance with the constitutional provisions. Second, the Supreme Court as a guardian of the Constitution. It has the power to declare any law or an action of the executive invalid if in its judgment it is not in conformity with the Constitution. It implies that the judges of the Supreme Court may declare a law or an executive action as ultra vires if it appears to them as unreasonable, unjust or immoral. Supreme Court has an important and active role towards the development of the Constitution through its power of judicial review. It has always interpreted the Constitution to meet the needs of the time. This role of the Supreme Court has helped the Constitution to keep pace with the fast moving times and a big socio-economic changes that have come since 1789. Supreme Court also acted as the custodian and the protector of fundamental rights and freedoms of the American people. It has protected their rights from being encroached upon by legislative or executive organs. The doctrines of judicial review and implied powers have made the Supreme Court not merely a court of law but also a lawmaking body, indeed, a third house of legislature. The power to interpret and invalidate a law in fact implies that it has the power to change the meaning of law, which amounts to amending a law or creating a law.